In apparent anger, Edo State Government under the leadership of Governor Monday Okpebholo has issued a serious warning with a strong message sent to the President of the Neo-Black Movement of Africa, NBM, Olorogun Ese Kakor, that the Edo State Government has started consultations to enable it take more appropriate legal action against the Neo-Black movement, saying, the international headquarters or Secretariat of the movement situated at Amagba area in Benin City that was demolished last month by the state government, has been an enclave used for planning and execution of secret cult-related killings by members of the Neo-Black movement. The governor also referred to and described as Black Axe secret cult, probably expressing more anger that the leadership and members of the Neo-Black movement had the courage to come out publicly to identify themselves with the demolished building. The governor said they will be made to face prosecution. The national president of the Neo-Black movement, Olorogun Ese Kakor, while speaking in reaction to the demolished building on a Rise News TV program, said, the movement is not Black Axe, emphasizing that Black Axe is a criminal organization while the Neo-Black movement is a social cultural organization that promote and engage in humanitarian services. The Neo-Black movement earlier in a statement jointly issued by Olorogun Ese Kakor and Chief Kelvin Agroko, National President and Secretary respectively, the body condemned the action of Edo State Government, describing the demolition of their international headquarters as unconstitutional and ultra-vires decision that contradicted provisions of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, considering the fact that the organization was a duly registered entity. According to the body, the provisions of Section 7 of the Secret Cult and Similar Activities Prohibition Law 2025, which the Edo State Government relied upon to carry out the demolition, contravened the provisions of the Constitution as contained in Sections 36, 40, 42, 43, and 44 of the CFR-N 1999, as amended as Section 7 of the Secret Cult and Similar Activities Prohibition Law 2025. The statement read in part, NBM of Africa is a registered non-governmental organization that carries out humanitarian services. The organization also protects, preserves, and promotes African culture. It was founded under the principles of Pan-Africanism on the 16th of October 1977 and registered as a non-governmental organization under Part C of CAMA on the 24th of February 1994 with registration number 7729. The organization has over 200 branches, all in Nigeria and the diaspora. It has its international secretariat at Amagba, Benin City, Edo State. The International Secretariat, which was built over a period of time and completed in the year 2022, comprises a 2,000 capacity event center, a 20-room accommodation facility, fully furnished offices, a skill acquisition center, and is fully air-conditioned. The Secretariat has been functioning with a 250 kVA generator to power the entire facility. Pope Leo XIV has said that he chose the name Leo XIV because late Pope Leo XIII made a great impact in the first industrial revolution during his time, adding that, the current industrial revolution of artificial intelligence, AI that posed a new challenge to the defense of human dignity, justice and labor warrant the Church to offer her social teachings in response to the AI industrial development threat. This, as it could be recalled that while billions of people across the globe awaited the election of the new Pope, an AI-generated photo of Donald Trump dressed and seated as the new Pope was posted on social media through the verified account of President Donald Trump on Truth social media platform, with President Donald Trump later on Monday dismissing the backlash against the AI-generated image of him as the Pope posted by the White House on social media, saying it was a harmless joke. But communications experts, as reported by Reuters, said they did not see the funny side of the preceding weekend AI-generated posts of Trump dressed in white papal vestments and another of him wielding one of the red lightsabers preferred by villains in the Star Wars movies. Details of Pope Leo XIV's statement as presented by the Vatican News Media reads verbatim below. In his first address to the College of Cardinals, Pope Leo XIV invokes the legacy of both Pope Francis and Pope Leo XIII, saying that he wants the church to respond to a new industrial revolution and to the development of artificial intelligence. Pope Leo XIV has revealed the inspiration behind the name he chose, one which, in his own words, echoes the Church's enduring commitment to human dignity and social justice. Pope Leo XIII, with the historic encyclical Rerum Novarum, addressed the social question in the context of the First Great Industrial Revolution. Pope Leo recalled, "Today, the Church offers to all her treasure of social teaching in response to another industrial revolution and the developments of artificial intelligence. A name, then, not only rooted in tradition, but one that looks firmly ahead to the challenges of a rapidly changing world and the perennial call to protect those most vulnerable within it." Addressing the cardinals, whom he called the closest collaborators of the Pope, on Saturday, Pope Leo XIV delivered his first official address as the successor of Peter, expressing heartfelt gratitude and an awareness of the immense responsibility now entrusted to him. "This yoke," he said, "is clearly far beyond my strength, as it would be for anyone." Pope Leo noted that the days that preceded his election had been marked by mourning, as the Church bid farewell to Pope Francis. Recognizing the emotional weight of that farewell, the Pope described the death of the beloved Pope Francis and the subsequent conclave as a paschal event, one enveloped in the light of the resurrection. The new Bishop of Rome paid tribute to his predecessor, remembering Pope Francis's simplicity, his radical dedication to service, and his peaceful return to the Father's house. "Let us treasure this precious legacy and resume our journey," he said, animated by the same hope that comes from faith. The Holy Father reminded those gathered of the quiet yet powerful presence of the risen Christ, not in the roar of thunder and earthquake. Few hours after President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S. and his state officials brokered a full and immediate ceasefire truce between India and Pakistan, leading to massive joy of celebrations for Indian and Pakistani residents in Kashmir, the two countries again have picked up weapons and resumed war, with India Foreign Secretary Shri Vikram Misri accusing Pakistan of violating the ceasefire agreement hours after it was brokered, stated this in a video press release made available to the public via WhatsApp channel through the office of the spokesperson of India Ministry of Defence. This, the office of the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan, Azam Munir, in a tweet through his verified X social media account few minutes ago stated that, from Peshawar airport once again, warplanes took off, and few seconds after, he tweeted again that, Pakistan has hit the Indian city of Sirsa. Pakistan's Fateh 1 and Fateh 2 in action, signaling the resumption of the war that entered its new dimension early on Saturday morning, with both countries firing missiles into each other's territories, which resulted in the killing of over 5 persons on Saturday, after the decades-long conflicts reawoke last month when some suspected terrorists killed over 26 India tourists at Kashmir, leading to over 2 weeks of build-up tensions before the two countries began the large-scale war on Saturday. According to India Foreign Secretary Shri Vikram Misri, Pakistan committed repeated violations of the understanding both countries arrived at earlier today between the Directors General of Military Operations of India and Pakistan, saying, Indian soldiers have been instructed to respond to any provocation along the infantry battalion and line of control. The U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, had earlier after the ceasefire was brokered, said that, over the past 48 hours, VP Vance and I have engaged with senior Indian and Pakistani officials, including Prime Ministers Narendra Modi and Shehbaz Sharif, External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar, Chief of Army Staff Azam Munir, and National Security Advisors Ajit Doval and Azam Malik. I am pleased to announce the governments of India and Pakistan have agreed to an immediate ceasefire and to start talks on a broad set of issues at a neutral site. We commend Prime Ministers Modi and Sharif on their wisdom, prudence, and statesmanship in choosing the path of peace. Office of the Spokesperson, India Ministry of Defence, in earlier numbers of tweets, stated that, in a grave escalation, Pakistan launched multi-vector attacks along the western border using drones, UCAVs, artillery and missiles, targeting over 26 locations from Srinagar to Nalia. Indian Air Force bases at Udhampur, Pathankot, Adampur and Bhuj sustained limited damage. In a cowardly act, Pakistan also struck civilian infrastructure including Medicare centers and schools. India responded with swift precision strikes on identified military targets at Rafiki, Chaklala, Rahim Yar Khan and more, ensuring minimal collateral damage. The Indian Army effectively countered line of control intrusions, causing extensive damage to Pakistan's forces. Troop movement. Pope Leo XIV, the new head of the Catholic Church and the first ever Pope from the United States, US and North America continent, and the second from the two America continents, has said that there are many settings or places in the world people considered the Christian faith to be only for the weak, calling on people to cultivate a better personal relationship with Christ, saying, without faith, life is meaningless. The new Pope, who had been ardent opposition to the policies of the new US President, Donald Trump, stated this at his first Mass held shortly after he was elected as the new head of the Christian faith to lead more than 1 billion Catholic faithfuls in the world and as one of the major pressure group leaders in the world. The new Pope had previously criticized the policies of President Donald Trump just as his predecessor, late Pope Francis, had always condemned Trump policies on illegal immigration, with records showing that the late Pope Francis promoted and elevated the new Pope Leo XIV multiple times within a short period to the high level to qualify him becoming the next Pope. We cannot build a just society if we discard the weakest, whether the child in the womb, or the elderly in their frailty, for they are both gifts from God, Pope Leo XIV said. When some journalists asked about Pope Leo's criticisms of the president on his X account, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said President Donald Trump is proud that the 267th Pope is American. It's a great thing for the United States of America and the world. President Donald Trump, in his personal words about the Pope, said although they are surprised but very happy, adding it is a great honor for the U.S. The Catholic mainstream media, the Vatican News, reported that the Pope Leo XIV blesses several people, including Sister Natalie Beckort, Under-Secretary of the General Secretariat of the Synod, at the Palace of the Holy Office on the same evening he was elected Pope. Here is the official record confirming that Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost accepted the election, canonically making him Supreme Pontiff and the name he has chosen. The document was drawn up by the Master of Pontifical Liturgical Celebrations, Monsignor Diego Giovanni Ravelli, acting as notary. Written in Latin, the name Leo XIV appears in red. We are called to bear witness to our joyful faith in Christ the Savior. Pope Leo XIV gave this reminder during his first Mass as Pontiff with the College of Cardinals in the Sistine Chapel, the exact site where the electors chose him as the 267th Pope on the fourth ballot the evening prior. In his homily, the newly elected Pope called for cultivating better a personal relationship with Christ, and he insisted that, without faith, life lacks meaning. Newly elected Pope Leo XIV began his first homily with words in English during Mass in the Sistine Chapel with the College of Cardinals. Even today, there are many settings in which the Christian faith is considered absurd, meant for the weak and unintelligent. Settings where other securities are preferred, like technology, money, success, power, or pleasure. God has called me by your election to succeed the Prince of the Apostles, and has entrusted this treasure to me so that, with his help, Edo State Police Commissioner Monday Okpebholo has marked his 1 month in office, with a statement that over 37 persons among the people under the custody of kidnappers in the state have been rescued within 30 days he took over as Commissioner of Police in the heartbeat of the nation. According to the CP Okpebholo, before he resumed office in Edo State, he was specifically briefed by the Inspector General of Police and the Chairman of the Police Service Commission on security challenges of secret cult activities and kidnapping peculiar to the state. In quote, CP Okpebholo said, "Distinguished gentlemen of the press, as you are all aware, I assumed duty on Tuesday the 8th of April 2025 as the 50th Commissioner of Police. I was fully briefed by the Chairman, Police Service Commission, Dig Hashimu Salihu Argungu retired, MNI, PSC, NPM and the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adeolu Egbetoken, PhD, NPM on the security challenges peculiar to the state such as cultism and kidnapping. It was very clear that community inclusivity and collaboration with both state and non-state actors was the way to go. Suspects arrested. 1. 95 suspected cultists. 2. 12 suspected kidnappers. 3. 5 suspected armed robbers. Number of persons rescued. 1. 37 rescued kidnapped victims. While most of the cases have been charged to court, some are under investigation. Barely 2 days of my assumption of duty, I hit the ground running by visiting the north and central senatorial zones of the state to see for myself all the identified flashpoints with prevalence of kidnapping and other heinous crimes, and immediately engaged critical stakeholders to map out proactive strategies to curb these challenges in the bud. These strategies, which are being reviewed from time to time, have yielded considerable results even though it is not yet uhuru. I want to share with you the account of my stewardship in the past 30 days. We shall sustain engagement with communities, bush-combing operations across area commands and divisions, intelligence-led raids of flashpoints and high-visibility policing amongst many other strategies with a view to preventing crimes and maintain law and order in the state. On this note, I wish to express the command's appreciation to the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetoken, PhD, NPM for his guidance. We also appreciate His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo for his unflinching support. While soliciting the continued support of the law-abiding people of the state who have been trusting us with valuable information that has helped us in achieving this feat, I encourage all stakeholders to continue cooperating with the police as we strive to surmount the security challenges experienced in the state. Our collaborative and proactive strategies have led to the rescue of 37 kidnapped victims in daring operations which involved technical intelligence. The officers and men have worked tirelessly over these days, leading to the recovery of 25 firearms including 2. Tragedy occurred at the Orogbeni area of Edo State on Monday when a woman with her baby on her back died of electrocution while struggling through flood water in the area on her way home. According to the state government-owned media, Edo Broadcasting Service, EBS, the woman and the baby remained trapped inside the flood water until Benin Electricity Distribution Company, BEDC, switched off the power supply to the area. The delay further lost the chances of rescuing the victims. The media added that the woman was going home with 2 of her children, but at the bad spot filled with flood water, luck came through for one of the children when a man decided to help the woman by taking one of the kids through another route to escape the flood water. The electricity company, BEDC, is yet to issue a statement over the cause of the electrocution leading to avoidable deaths. EBS reported that the young woman and her baby trapped on her back were electrocuted when she stepped on a live electricity cable that fell from a pole while wading through the flooded road. Edo State Government Agency in charge of flood water control and management, Edo State Flood, Erosion and Watershed Management Agency, EDOFUMA, had in a statement said the state government is removing obstructions from the drainages to ensure the flood waterways are free before the peak of this year's rainy season in the state. In some of the news releases issued and made available by the EDOFUMA reads verbatim below. For the first time in over 3 decades, residents of the Ehunwanse and House of Prayer in a Wogban community are witnessing a transformation that they thought would never come to their area, where a massive gully has been reclaimed by the Edo State Flood, Erosion and Watershed Management Agency, EDOFUMA, opening a brand new road that has been absent for nearly 30 years, and dramatically easing traffic congestion along the busy Ikpoba Hill. The newly constructed road connects Temboga through Ehunwanse to House of Prayer to Lucky Way, providing an alternative route for motorists heading to Aduawa and other parts of Benin City. The reclaimed road is also offering a renewed hope to thousands of commuters along the axis. The governor's swift action not only restored access to the community, but also reaffirmed his administration's commitment to equitable infrastructure development across the state. Edo also urges residents to protect and maintain the newly constructed road and drainage channels built to tackle flood and erosion. This development is expected to significantly decongest traffic around the Okpebholo bottleneck and Orogbeni market, long known for the gridlocks and difficult driving conditions. Governor Okpebholo's delivery of this long-abandoned road marks a significant step forward in addressing erosion, improving mobility, and enhancing urban resilience. His administration has proven that with focused leadership, even the most neglected areas can experience renewal. Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of the Edo State Flood, Erosion and Watershed Management Agency, EDOFUMA, Honorable Ahmed Musa Momo, has continued his intensive inspection of ongoing desilting and maintenance of floodwater infrastructure across the state, emphasizing the agency's dedication to ensuring all interventions are executed to the highest standard and ahead of peak rainfall. Three-man panel of justices at the Federal Court of Appeal in Enugu State have upheld the decision of the lower high court that had earlier sentenced a staff of Guarantee Trust Bank, GT Bank, Onyekachi Nwosu to 7 years imprisonment in line with the enacted Nigeria Law of Failed Banks or Recovery of Debts and Financial Malpractices Act, which the convict fraudulently used the property of one Mrs. Adebimpe Foluke to apply and disburse 50 million nairas loan into the savings account of GT Bank customer and withdrew 40 million nairas of the money from the beneficial savings account for his personal use. This is coming at a critical period. Many Nigerians are doubting the credibility and integrity of GT Bank management after a popular human rights activist, Martins Vincent Otts aka Veridakman, was arrested last Friday at the exit gate of GT Bank branch in Abuja by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, when the activist went with his mother to seek clarification over apparent unauthorized constant savings withdrawals as loan repayments from his mother's savings asset with the bank, with the activist mother saying she never took loan from the bank, and EFCC arresting and releasing Veridakman after almost 5 days in detention without specifically stating the alleged offense or offenses committed by the activist may have created room for some level of insinuations in certain quarters that sees GT Bank management as people probably using the state security assets to commit act of criminal intimidation and oppression of complainers to cover up the bank's suspected loan fraud and financial malpractices. According to EFCC news release made available about an hour ago, the Enugu Division of the Court of Appeal has upheld the conviction and 7 years prison sentence of one Onyekachi Nwosu, a former employee of Guarantee Trust Bank, for his commission of over 50 million nairas, 50 million naira, loan fraud. Nwosu was prosecuted by the Enugu Zonal Directorate of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on a 9-count charge, bordering on forgery and obtaining by false pretense to the tune of 50 million nairas, and was convicted and sentenced by Justice R.O. Dugbo Oghoghori of Federal High Court, sitting in Independence Layout, Enugu, on January 14, 2021. The convict, who was an account officer of one Anyaso Shindu, owner of Floxy Aluminum Odioful Products Limited, used a forged document titled, An Application to Mortgage, Consent to Mortgage and Tripartite Legal Mortgage, to deceive GTB into believing that one Mrs. Adebimpe Foluke pledged her property as collateral for the said loan to Floxy Aluminium Odioful Products Limited. Investigations revealed that he benefited 40 million nairas from the fraudulent act by directly withdrawing it from the account of Floxy Aluminium Odioful Products Limited. In the course of his trial, Prosecution Counsel, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, ACE 2 Main for Sadaka Eku, called 4 witnesses and tendered 16 exhibits which were admitted in evidence as Exhibit EFCC 1-16. At the end of the trial, Justice Oghoghori held that the EFCC proved its case beyond reasonable doubt and convicted and sent. Hundreds of passengers ran out of 2 planes on Tuesday early morning night at San Francisco International Airport in the United States, after United Airlines flight Boeing 877 heading to Hong Kong kissed the wing of another United Airlines flight 863 destined for Sydney in Australia, with some level of damages to both aircrafts while on ground operations preparing for takeoff, forcing almost 1,000 passengers inside the two large air carriers to deplane, and according to the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, the incident did not cause harm to any of those on board the planes. The United Airlines saying it has removed the two planes from services to enable the aircraft engineer diagnose the level of damages and recommend appropriately for their repairs. Fazat News Media stated that, in the early morning hours at San Francisco International Airport, a moment of unexpected chaos unfolded as two United Airlines Boeing 777s, massive machines carrying the hopes and plans of hundreds of passengers, collided on the tarmac. The incident, which occurred during routine ground operations, left travelers shaken but unharmed, and cast a spotlight on the intricate dance of aircraft movements at one of the nation's busiest airports. United Flight 877, bound for Hong Kong, and United Flight 863, destined for Sydney, became the center of attention as their wingtips grazed in a jarring encounter that halted both journeys before they could begin. The collision took place shortly after dawn, as Flight 877 was being pushed back from its gate, a standard procedure where a tug vehicle maneuvers the aircraft away from the terminal. At the same time, Flight 863 was taxiing nearby, navigating the complex network of taxiways that crisscross the airport. The two planes, both Boeing 777-300ERs, made contact in a slow but forceful scrape, leaving visible damage to their wingtips. Passengers aboard both aircraft, some of whom were preparing for long-haul international flights, experienced a moment of confusion as the planes came to an abrupt stop. San Francisco International Airport, a hub for United Airlines, is no stranger to the high-stakes choreography of ground operations. With planes moving like pieces on a chessboard, the margin for error is razor-thin. Yet, this incident underscored the challenges of managing such operations under pressure. Ground crews and emergency responders acted swiftly, cordoning off the area to assess the damage and ensure the safety of all involved. Remarkably, no injuries were reported, a testament to the protocols in place and the quick response of airport personnel. United Airlines, in a statement released shortly after the incident, expressed regret for the disruption to passengers' plans and emphasized its unwavering commitment to safety. The airline confirmed that both aircraft were removed from service for detailed inspections, a process likely to involve engineers poring over every inch of the damaged wingtips to determine the extent of repairs needed. For passengers, the cancellations meant rebooking on later flights, with some facing delays of several hours or more as United scrambled to accommodate them on alternative routes. Kano State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has arrested an 18-year-old woman, Saudat Jibril, for allegedly killing her husband, Salisu Idris, by thus cutting his throat with a knife while he was asleep on Tuesday early morning night at Farawa community in Kombotso local government area of Kano State, barely 9 days after they held their wedding ceremony. According to a statement issued by the command's spokesperson, SP Abdullahi Haruna Kiyawa, the incident occurred at about 12:35 a.m. in Farawa quarters of Kombotso local government area. The suspect, Saudat, is accused of slitting the throat of her 30-year-old husband, Salisu Idris, with a sharp knife while he was reportedly asleep. Upon receiving the report, the Commissioner of Police, CP Ibrahim Adamu Bakori, PhD, swiftly deployed a team of detectives to the scene, the statement reads. The victim was rushed to Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, where he was confirmed dead by medical personnel. The suspect is currently in custody at the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, Homicide Section, and police say she will be charged to court for the offense of culpable homicide. While the motive behind the killing remains unclear, the police confirmed that investigations are ongoing. The Commissioner of Police condemned the act, emphasizing the command's zero tolerance for violence and criminal activity in the state. We will not tolerate any form of violence or criminality in Kano State, CP Bakori stated. The command is committed to conducting thorough investigations to ensure justice is served. According to Wikitimes, a news media with special focus on northern Nigeria communities, the incident, which occurred late Monday night, has sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. Witnesses said Saudid lured her husband into a fatal trap by asking him to close his eyes for a surprise, before slitting his throat with a knife. A neighbor and eyewitness, Dini Mada, told Wikitimes that Salisu managed to identify his wife as the attacker before succumbing to his injuries later in the hospital. "I asked him who did this to you," he said. "Dini, it's my wife who stabbed my neck with a knife in the parlor. She asked me to close my eyes so that she would surprise me, but I didn't know that she had hidden her knife somewhere. She cut me in the neck." Dini narrated his conversation with late Salisu shortly after the incident. He added, "We met that very night and said good night to each other. He entered his house, and I entered mine. Like 10 minutes later, his mum, whose house is attached to her son's own, called me and said some people attacked Salisu. But on reaching there, we found that his throat was slit." The suspected killer wife reportedly locked herself in a bedroom and was discovered by police during a search. She was on the phone when police arrived, and they arrested her. "We did not even know that she was still in the house," the witness stated. According to Dini, a close friend of the deceased disclosed that the couple had unresolved tensions that only a few close allies of the victim are aware of. Despite their pre-wedding affection, she refused to consummate the marriage and often declined to cook for him. On the night of the murder, Salisu purchased Nigeria Anti-Corruption Police, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC may have failed to state the alleged crime or crimes committed by a human rights activist, Martins Vincent Otts aka Veridagman since 5 days. Over 120 hours the anti-corruption police arrested him in Abuja when he went with his mother to GT Bank to get clarification from the bank over constant apparent unauthorized withdrawals effected by the bank on the woman's savings account. Although Veridagman was arrested alongside his friend, Stephen Avuara aka CPAC, but according to the statement issued by the activist lawyers' legal chamber, Deji Adiyanju and partners, Stephen Avuara was released shortly after he was arrested on Friday, with the chamber insisting that as at on Tuesday, EFCC have not been able to state the crime or crimes their client, Veridagman, committed. Rather, as at on Monday, 4 operatives of the EFCC engaged the human rights activist in hours-long questions that borders on why he allegedly monetized his social media pages, his public comments about a gospel musician, his tax records and his source of income. This apparently authenticated the BBC report that the EFCC confirmed to it that Veridagman was arrested and detained for cyber-talking, a BBC report which EFCC swiftly launched media war against the British media, tagging the BBC report as a fake news, and in retaliation, the BBC Pigeon replied EFCC with a post that its report is correct. And undoubtedly, the crime of cyber-talking may not be the duty of the EFCC, as such is apparently the constitutional responsibility of the Nigeria police force, and if true that the human rights activist was detained for cyber-talking, it shows that the country ruling political party, the All Progressives Congress, APC, may have questions to answer. The APC had earlier issued threat message to the human rights activist after the activist called the Nigeria Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, out over the Senate President traveling to Rome in Italy to attend Pope Francis' burial, while almost daily killings and unabated high level of insecurity are observed in several states in the West Africa country, and furthermore, EFCC in a statement on Tuesday, only issued an apparent vague statement that he received series of petitions against the activist as a way to try to justify why the human rights activist was arrested and detained, but the Anti-Corruption Commission probably could not make any reasonable allegation against the human rights defender, even when the commission confirmed in the statement that it has been investigating the allegations filed against Veridagman before the activist was arrested in a commando-like style at the exit gate of GT Bank. According to Deji Adiyanju and partners' legal chamber, following our earlier statement on the arrest of our clients, Mr. Martins Vincent Otts, aka Very Dark Black Man, and Mr. Stephen Avuara, aka CPAC, by officers of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and considering the heightened interest that their arrest has generated amongst members of the public, we are constrained to issue this further statement. While we can confirm that Mr. Avuara was released after our intervention on May 2, 20, Canada newly elected Prime Minister, Mark Carney on Tuesday met with President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S. after he had arrived at its rival trade war neighboring country, the U.S. earlier on Monday with a statement that Canada and U.S. are strongest when they work together, and, on Tuesday when he finally met with Trump at the Oval Office, he bluntly told the U.S. President that Canada is not for sale and won't be for sale ever, after Trump made a repeat statement of Canada becoming the 51st states of the United States of America, USA. Mark Carney, shortly after arriving in the U.S. on Monday, said, "I've arrived in Washington, D.C., ahead of meetings with President Trump tomorrow. Canada and the United States are strongest when we work together, and that work starts now," Carney stated via social media post. During the meeting on Tuesday, Trump said, "As a real estate developer, when you get rid of that artificial line, when you look at that beautiful formation together, I said, that's the way it was meant to be." Carney responded and said, "As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale. We are sitting in one right now, having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign the last several months. It's not for sale. It won't be for sale ever." It would be recalled that the two leaders quickly engaged in a continuous exchange of words soon after Mark Carney took over as Canada Prime Minister following Trump's repeated suggestions that Canada become part of the U.S. as the 51st state. After insisting that Canada is not for sale, Mark Carney added that although Canada is not for sale, but the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. Trump still didn't let go of the idea as he later mused, "Never say never. Time will tell, it's only time, but I say never," Trump said. "I've had many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable and only doable in a very friendly way." Trump had in some minutes ahead of the meeting lashed out at Canada on his conservative social media platform, the Truth platform, writing, "The US didn't need anything the country has to offer in terms of trade and goods. We don't need the cars, we don't need their energy, we don't need their lumber, we don't need anything they have, other than their friendship, which hopefully we will always maintain. They, on the other hand, need everything from us. The Prime Minister will be arriving shortly and that will be, most likely, my only question of consequence," Trump wrote. Carney's visit comes off the heels of his election win to replace Justin Trudeau that was fueled, in part, by his anti-Trump platform. After his victory, Carney warned Canadians, "Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen." Trump on Monday had said he was not sure what the Prime Minister wanted to discuss but added that Canada wants to make a deal, while Carney said on Friday that they will focus on trade pressures and the broader future economic and security relationship. "I'm not pretending these discussions will be easy. They won't proceed in a straight line," Carney said. Unknown witness brought by the federal government of Nigeria to federal high court sitting in Abuja on Tuesday over the case involving Biafra Republic agitator Nnamdi Kanu has testified before the court that the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB leader, was the founder of the Eastern Security Network, ESN, an IPOB-acclaimed vigilante security network established to fight against terrorists that were advancing from northern part of Nigeria and building camps in some parts of southeast states, although the unknown witness, who was fully masked and personal details kept secret, introduced himself as a personnel of the Department of State Services, DSS, who was among the detectives that interrogated the detained IPOB leader, but the IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, in a swift reaction said the witness is unknown, denying ever meeting such a person. The defense lawyer raised a point of observation during cross-examination that the issue raised by the unknown witness has been deliberated and struck out by the previous judge. Prosecution lawyer, Adigboyegborowomulo, SAN, on Tuesday called its second witness to testify. The witness claimed that Kanu incited violence and established the Eastern Security Network ESN, allegedly as an armed wing of IPOB. According to Punch newspaper, The Federal High Court on Tuesday, during the continuation of the trial, banned Favor Kanu, the wife of Prince Fineboy Kanu, the younger brother of the leader of the detained indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, from attending the next 3 court sessions after she streamed the proceedings live on her Facebook page. Justice James Omotosho issued the order on Tuesday after Favor admitted to live streaming the session and apologized. The judge said her action could have amounted to contempt of court. Even though her husband's lawyer, Chief Kanu Agabi, also begged the court for forgiveness, Justice Omotosho maintained that she must be barred for 3 sittings. The judge expressed disbelief that she still went ahead to post the video online despite her phone being seized during a previous court date for a similar offense. "I want to hear from her. Were you not the one who took your phone?" the judge asked. "I did not give the order to forfeit that phone. I don't know if she might be a wife to my brother, Nnamdi Kanu," he added. Prince Fineboy Kanu replied, "She is my wife." Justice Omotosho warned that no one should take actions that could delay the trial, assuring that justice would be done. During the proceeding, the federal government's second prosecution witness told the Federal High Court in Abuja that Kanu is also the founder of the Eastern Security Network. The witness, code-named BBB, stated under examination by the federal government's lead counsel, Adigboyegba Awomolo, in the open court presided over by Justice James Omotosho. Recall that at the commencement of the trial, Awomolo had asked the court that the identities of the witnesses be concealed from the public and protected for security reasons. He stated the charges against Kanu borders on a serious offense of terrorism, hence, the need to protect the witnesses. In a short ruling, Justice Omotosho granted the prosecution counsel's request. Kanu, who was initially facing a 15-count charge of terrorism,
bringing you the news in a more digital way.